Well, hello, City Point. It's Pastor Mike. Time for the weekly vlog. And I appreciate you for taking time to take a listen and watch. Or watch and listen. Or just listen. Or just watch and turn the volume down. I don't know what you do. I just know that I appreciate you. So I'm on my way up to Kimbrough in Crown Point. And I'm going to meet with some of the leadership at the Kimbrough facility to try to convince them of letting the ladies that are in Kimbrough come to church on Sundays. We did this before in the past, and we brought in anywhere from 10 to 14 ladies a week, and we fed them lunch and really connected with some of these ladies by doing that. And it's a great way to really minister to these ladies, to disciple them. So here's my thinking, like if we can get permission to do this, I'm gonna need, some people who will be willing to drive up and get them in the church van, take them home. Need some people who will be willing to help feed them. While we're feeding them, I think, I was thinking we could use that time really valuably to speak into their lives. Maybe while we're eating lunch, show a Beth Moore series or something, and just really focus on discipleship and life skills and things that will help them when they get out. There's so much more that they need than just the evangelistic side. Because what happens after they've accepted Jesus, many of them, don't even know how to fill out a resume. Many of them don't, they've never had a real job, and they have trouble relating in the real world, so to speak. And so there's just a lot of life skills, a lot of discipling that needs to take place in these ladies' lives. And this is the thing too. This is what separates a real church from a bunch of rah-rah church. Where we can bring people to church and cheerlead them on, or we can bring them to church and really disciple them and champion them in their lives and their destiny. And I think where I fall in at this. I'm not interested in just I love cheerleaders. I married a cheerleader. Did you know my wife was a cheerleader? And so I don't have a problem with cheerleaders. I think every team needs cheerleaders, but cheerleaders are there because there is a team out on the field playing, and that's what needs to happen. We need to get in the game. Sometimes we're so busy going to church, we don't have time to really help anybody. Well, I can't really do anything. I can't serve. I can't help out because I've got to get to church, and really I thought the whole idea of church was serving. That the whole idea of being the church was to minister to people, and sometimes we turn so inward and we're so self-involved and so wrapped up in our own self and our own, pleasure and what pleases us. And I got a little insight for you, that I really want City Point to get a hold of, that all along the Lord thinks that church is all about Him. Can you imagine that? That the Lord thinks that church is all about Him, and that He ought to be the preeminent one, the one who's at the center of everything. And if we're at the center of everything and it's all about us, then the question is it really a church at all? Just a point to ponder. And I don't know, but I know, do you really think about this? Do we really make church about Him? And should we keep that our little secret? Because just in case it gets out that we've made it about us, we might want to keep that to ourselves and not let Him in on it. because that might like disrupt his plan. Oh, Pastor Mike, what's wrong with you? Well, that's a good question, but here's a better question. What's right with you? And you know what's right with me is that I'm seeing, after all of these years and after all of this stuff I've done for church, with church, around church, I'm finally starting to see that it's really always and was supposed to always be and forever be about Him. And all the stuff that we do that's not, maybe we could just do without. Maybe we could just put that on hold and see what would it look like if we put the Lord at the center of everything? What would it look like if the Lord was in charge of everything? Ooh. Because that means you'd have to let go. I'd have to let go. That means we'd have to really step out in faith and take a bold risk. And so, I don't know, just some crazy thoughts that run through my head. And see, I don't think those are drunk monkey thoughts. Now, if you were with us last week, Pastor Randy brought a really wonderful message and introduced us to the concept of that drunk monkey, that saboteur that's in your head, that's always whispering nothing in your ear. I was going to say sweet nothings, but there's nothing sweet about it. And really, they impact us in such a powerful way because they generally short circuit our faith and sabotage our destiny. And that monkey, that drunk monkey that's up in your head that tells you lies about yourself, lies about God, lies about people, lies about your work, your destiny, your fruitfulness, your effectiveness. I mean, that's the drunk monkey in us. It's always trying to sabotage what God's doing. Then once you recognize it, and listen, let me just say something, that in a more scientific term, what this is called is self-talk. Because self-talk, it has been introduced in the scientific community because they recognize that a person's well-being is largely dependent on their self-talk, and of course they think they're onto something, like that this is some new crazy wild discovery and this is going to revolutionize the whole mental health world. Can I let you in on a little secret? God knew this ages ago. In fact, He put it in His Bible. Yeah, He put it in His Bible. He said it like this: as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And, because as you think, you're talking to yourself. And your self-talk and your thinking go hand in hand. And if your thinking's goofed up, your self-talk is going to be goofed up, and you're going to be talking yourself out of faith, out of your destiny, out of trying new things. You'll talk yourself out of venturing out and trusting God to step into new areas. And so the writer of Proverbs said that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So as you think, as your mind goes, and then as you talk to yourself around, because your talk always follows your thoughts. This is why Paul, again, in the book of Romans, 2,000 years ago, said that you have to be transformed. Well, how does that transformation take place? By the renewing of your mind. You got to get your thoughts right, and then you get your thoughts right, and you get your self-talk right. Because I think, really, truth be told, most of you are talking yourself out of the blessings of God. You're talking yourself out of the promises of God. You look at somebody and say, well, that was good for them, but that won't work for me. It's never worked for me. It won't work that way, when it comes to my healing or my deliverance or my ministry. And we just talk ourselves right out of the blessing, the promise, the power of God. And so I want to challenge you in that. I want you to think about your thinking. Think about your self-talk. Think about that drunk monkey. That's such a great way to recognize what's going on up in your head. So anyway, I just want you to pray about this, and I want you to pray about shutting up your drunk monkey, and let's get to the business of being the church. Let's get to the business of making a difference in people's lives. These ladies at Kimbrough need other ladies to come alongside of them, and the things that you do by nature, so easily because you have learned to function. Many of them don't even know. They don't have the clue of how to function in a work situation, in a healthy relationship. They've been abused, used. They have been users. They have been self-destructive. Many of them need to be taught. They think they know how to have a relationship, or they think they know how to hold a job, or how to live a life, and they don't really have a clue. They have to be discipled, because what they've been taught, what they've been doing is so wrong and so counterproductive that God needs to set them free. So my challenge to you is, come on with me here. Come on and let's venture out and open ourselves up into the possibilities of a future life in God, that we're making a difference in people's lives. I mean, in a very real and practical way, where you sit down and eat lunch with a bunch of ladies, and where you disciple them, where you teach them basics and simple truths that will change their life. Let's try this. Let's see if we can change a life one at a time, and turn these lives into something God can really use. Amen. God bless you.